everyone, it's Monica with Scrap Saturdays, and my first project for this season is going to be a Rolodex type mini album to put my son's birthday pictures into. I'm using the Graphically Speaking cartridge for the Cricut, and it's on page 67 that I found above the 0. So 0 is, I guess, the character or the main image for this page, where I found it looks like a Rolodex type card when you cut it out. Not totally a file folder, but a Rolodex type. And I kind of liked it. I thought it was different. I have a lot of photos. I'm gonna say close to 60 photos that I have printed them out, and I've changed them, or I've separated them so that I've got all my landscape versus the other style, so that I know which ones I want to lay flat and which ones I want to insert. So I've gone ahead and done that, and that's the way I do it. So I print my pictures and then I pick my paper, which this one so happens to be the green stack that I'm going to use. He had a Bob the Builder type birthday party, and I love this paper for 2 reasons. One, because it's extremely thick and it handles cutting through the Cricut very well, but it also stabilizes my pages because I don't want to use chipboard throughout. And this way I find that when I do create my mini albums, I'm trying to gear away from too much chipboard. I'm also incorporating the hinge technique. I'm going to say it's Kathy's idea that I really pulled this off, and I love it because she adds that gusset, and it's fun to work with and it's easy. And then again, just plain black cardstock from Recollections is what I used. And I'll put all the dimensions and how-to on my blog, so you'll have to go over there and I will type everything out for you. It's www.scrapsaturdays.com, and using the remnant pieces from cutting out my Rolodex index cards is how I made all of my hinges. So I have them all set aside and they're all cut out from my scraps. And then yet again, using my scraps from cutting out my pattern paper, I've gone ahead and placed them back onto my Cricut mat and cut out tags using my Gypsy. It was a little bit off center, but it's okay. Some of them have a straighter edge and I'll just round them there. I can make them a little bit smaller with my Gypsy. You're actually just seeing it right when I'd finished doing it. So I put on some tags for the remainder leftover pattern paper, so there's not too much waste. There's a lot of usage for each little piece of paper, which I like. That makes me happy. So this is the chipboard that I'm going to be using to make my covers, which I haven't cut down yet, and I think I'm going to be putting some of this really cute Makes Me Smile Beaver and Birds as my cover. And I bought this oh dear, what do you call these things now? Tool belt from Home Depot, because we're redoing our basement, as I've told you, and I just had a mini album cover idea, and I thought, yeah, for my son's birthday, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use it as my cover, and that's how I'm going to insert the album in there and use this tie back or waist tying thing as my closure on the other side. I've never tried it. This is going to be just like that zipper fiasco, remember, with the Life's a Beach shorts, but I'm going to go full force. I did consider at least a 2-inch binding there, and I may reinforce that with chipboard. The chipboard that I put on this side will have the pattern paper showing up, and then I'll glue down the raw edge on the other side. So that'll turn out fun. That'll be at the end, and I will of course post that up. Even if it turns out bad, I'll still let you know. Here again is some of just that remnant pieces after I cut out the pattern paper into the Rolodex shapes, just to let you know, you can keep them, turn them into journaling cards. Even if you don't have a Cricut, you can do these shapes and you can have a lot of fun. So don't throw anything away. And here is how I usually do all of my setups. So I go ahead and I cut out all of my pattern paper that I want, counting how many pages I want. And sometimes I do a little bit extra because I can keep one of these and incorporate it into a 12 by 12 layout, no problem. And here are my inside pages, or my base pages as I like to call it, with what I love to work with. It's probably my most similar thing that I like about Kathy and her paper phenomenon is that I do like to use, you know, the basic craft or black cardstock as a base to most things. So here's my little tryout example, kind of little dummy thing, but it turned out really good, so I'm kind of happy. It has three pockets. It has 3 pockets. So the front cover, as I said, the pattern paper itself has enough strength to carry its own weight. So really the black cardstock just acts as a divider for me. And then I've got another photo inserted in there. And then again, my back page, if I were to flip it over, has yet another pocket. So this one has 3 pockets. They're not very, very deep. As you can see, the photos do stick out, you know, a little bit, but they're comfortable. And I think that's what, you know, a file folder / Rolodex card should look like. But again, it's really your choice. And then my next card step that I will be doing, and I don't know where I placed it now, which is this one, where I hope you can see, but I've gone ahead and scored. And this is exactly 1 inch. When I place it on my Martha Stewart scoreboard, it's 1 inch where I scored it, and I really, you know, bent it down as much as I could. And this paper's strong, so it does a very good job. And what I'm going to be doing is, when I do construct my basic page again, I'm going to be layering this and gluing it down on this side, matching it up to the other holes. And I'm going to actually leave this as a flip down page, just so if we were pretending that I'm showing you what I'm going to do, is I would be just adding as a layer like this. And I'm going to be using paper clips and metal hardware to, you know, tuck in a photo, just like as if it was a memo, you know, a work order is what I'm kind of looking and gearing at, so that it's more of that construction theme going on, so that gives me more room for more photos, but it's also a nice way for you know, an interaction for people to look at the book. I also thought of, and I still haven't scored it on this side, of doing the same thing, but having, you know, the page flap open this way or this way, whatever way you want, or 2 folding down. So the basic page, what you want to do is you want to take whatever tape that you use or adhesive that you like to use, whether it be score tape or whatnot. I just so happen to use my version of score tape, and I buy it from my dollar store. And I don't buy it in the craft section, I buy it in the hardware section, and it's double-sided adhesive tape. I don't know if it's acid-free. I don't know what kind of glue or adhesive is on it, but it's very strong. So I've put it through the Monica test where, you know, do I really like it? It's cheap, it's affordable, and it's also, you know, what Kathy says, it's tearable. Is that terrible? You can tear it. So for me, that's kind of the fun part. Sometimes when I have a straight edge and I want that corner to corner adhesion, then I do use my scissors, but mostly I tear this because it's 1, 2, 3 fast. So basically what I do is I create the pocket. So I will go, you know, straight to the edge and straight down to this bottom. Again, you can use, you know, thinner tape if you want a thinner and more fuller pocket, but a thinner adhesion line, you can do that. And then I go ahead and I glue this on top of that. Before I do that, that's where my hinges come into play, and you want to hide them as best you can behind your pattern paper. So you want to put your hinge there, put your pattern paper on top of there, and then continue so on and so forth. Again, you would do another 3 strips of your adhesive, whatever type you're using, even if you're using some hot glue, and you would continue with this exact same pattern. Again, you would come up with your second Rolodex blackout card, and you can flip over the tabs if that's the look you're trying to achieve, because that's what I did with my base card or my base page, is that I flipped over the tabs, and on the other side I flipped over the pattern paper, so you've got one black showing and one not. I would be going back and putting some labels there, such as, you know, paid or due, or something that's, you know, very officey, construction officey type look. And again, you continue with the same pattern of sticking down the glue and continuing to build your pockets. And then again, taking into consideration where your hinges go, you do want to hide them, so you want to make sure your pattern paper is the last to go down. So again, that's one of Kathy's tips that she always tells us, you know, leave the back blank until you come back and join all of your pages together, because you don't want to see this hinge, and then you would be gathering your next pattern piece of paper that you cut out, and you'd be gluing it down like this. And then the hinge itself would be hidden, and all you'd see is the black gusset. But because everything else matches, I thought black was a great base page. So this is what I'm going to be working on. Again, go over to my blog and I'll be listing all of the sizes, dimensions, supplies that you'll be needing right down to a T, if that helps you out if you want to make one. And then I'll be posting my final video.